All right, Garrett, Blake, again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you
Yes,
for having us.
We're excited.
Of course. So let me begin by asking, how's married life been?
Ah,
Pretty great.
it has been really great. A lot of people always ask us and they say, what's changed and what's different, but really everything kind of feels the same, if not better.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, we had a lot of people warning us like, oh, things are going to change or feel more serious when you're married. And we're like, we kept talking about it before we got married. And then once we were, it just feels like this is like the fun part.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I read the People magazine feature and saw the Instagram photos, and the wedding looked absolutely stunning. And it had to be postponed at least twice due to the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'd waited, I think we were together for 6 or 7 years before we got engaged. And then we'd waited and had a really long engagement. So we initially planned on getting married in 2020.
On our 10-year anniversary.
On our 10-year anniversary. Yes. Or was it 2021?
We were trying to get married on our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
But COVID kind of postponed all that.
Yeah. And then we changed it, pushed it back another few months, I think like 6-7 months, something like that. And then we ended up having to push it again just because of the new variants and everything.
Yeah.
So how did it finally feel to say I do?
Really great. I mean, that's the thing is like we've just been together for so long, and this just feels like we got to celebrate the way we were already living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It didn't, it doesn't feel like there's any added pressure. I don't know. It feels like we're in another like joy-filled time, and there's no, I don't know.
Yeah, I think because the relationship was, we did keep it more to ourselves, for various reasons. I know that he's done interviews before talking about, how he was closeted by people he'd worked with. So, it was kind of cathartic being able to put it out there and just show people how happy we actually are, and how I think it was important for us visibility wise also for a lot of his fans and his followers to see that there are a lot of healthy queer relationships that span many years. So that was something that was important to us too.
And we also, even when the first 2 years we were together, we weren't legally allowed to be married. So when the law changed, that was something that we were like, do we want to be married? Do we want like the heteronormative kind of marriage wedding thing? But I think it was important to us that, for our joy and for also young people, we want, it's important that they see that there's long-term relationships in the community, and not that there aren't. I just think there's a stigma where people like to perpetuate that, gay people bounce around a lot, and it's like, okay, but I think single people in general, like that's just a part of the culture. And like there's a lot of long-term relationships that are queer.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So what was the choice behind the fairy tale garden party?
Well, I guess we never even really called it fairy tale. I think that was some publication put that out there. The theme to do like a garden party theme was because we are, we've gotten close to the Disney family, and they're very good friends of ours, and they just have this amazing sprawling, property in LA with a huge yard, which is very unheard of, in this city. And there's a replica of the Snow White wishing well in their backyard that was kind of put together by a team of Imagineers
before they were even called Imagineers.
Right after, I guess, the Snow White won the Academy Awards.
Okay.
So I mean, it was just an ideal setting. We wanted to do something in the daytime, mainly because just scheduling, that's how it worked out. His family and a lot of his friends are from Michigan and places on the East Coast. Mine are from the South and Texas. So we were trying to do something where we knew people would have jet lag, and something where everyone could come together in a nice outdoor airy space. Because it was still, COVID was still very much a thing, as it is still today. But we just wanted to do it in a safe environment so that people felt comfortable, but also, wanted to be able to add our touch of whimsy to it, I guess.
Awesome. Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you two still planning the honeymoon in the Maldives and Japan?
We're trying.
See, those parts of the world are still under a little bit more of restrictions than we are here. But that's still the plan. Maybe sometime this fall or winter we'll be able to go.
Awesome. Is there anything in particular you were most excited to see?
What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like I've put all of my thoughts about the honeymoon on pause until we can actually like set the dates.
Yeah.
Just because with travel restrictions and things are being opened and closed so frequently that it's like I've kind of washed my hands of expectation. And once we can actually set the dates and look into all the activities, then I'll be able to get excited about that stuff. But
Understandable.
I'm much more type A than he is. So I've been doing a lot more research and kind of planning out different things. I think, because Japanese culture in particular is so much different than ours on pretty much even fundamental levels. Just day-to-day things are completely different than just tasks, even than the way we perform them here. So I think we're excited to kind of get immersed in the culture there. And when we first started our show on YouTube a few years ago, A Gay in the Life, we interviewed a Japanese student who was living in America at the time, but his family's still in Japan. And, he mentioned that he had lots of tips for us too. So I've been talking with him over the last year or so. And I think we're excited to see like the rural fishing villages, but also how crazy and different Tokyo is. And also to go to like the old like geisha district in Gion would be really cool.
Awesome. Very nice. Well, for those who don't know, how did you two initially meet?
I was a waiter at a 24-hour diner called Crave in the Valley. And I was working like 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. shifts for about the first 2 years I lived here. And he was an assistant at the time and used to go into the restaurant.
Yeah, I just graduated from college. I think he'd just moved here about 6 months before we met, probably. I'd been out of college for about the same amount of time and was just I think we both were just trying to find our footing in the city and figure out what exactly, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and I kind of did, but there's not really a straight path as far as the entertainment industry goes. So we kind of met at a time when we were both still coming of age, I guess, if you will, and trying to figure out the next step, and ended up being able to be there to support each other and have a good time.
Awesome.
While we were doing it.
Fantastic. So when did you realize that you were the one for each other?
I feel like it came in waves just because, when I first was getting my break in the industry, I remember giving him a lot of outs and being like, I don't want you to have to go through what all of this craziness that I'm going through right now, because there was a lot of pressure to be, visibly like a straight guy. And I was being told basically how to dress, how to speak, how to interact with people, like every level of being a person. It was like I was one person at home and one person at work. And I didn't, I kept reiterating to him, like, I know that this wasn't your choice for what I'm going through right now, and I don't want you to feel pressure to have to deal with that. And he was just so supportive and was like, no, I love you, and I want to be there for you through this, and I want us to figure it out together, so that way we can still be together and get through this. It's just going to not be easy for a while.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, I don't think there was any one solid moment, kind of like Garrett was just saying, it kind of came in waves where we realized that this was a long-term thing and that it was something that was good and positive and lasting. A lot of it had to do with different trials that we went through, both as individuals and a couple, and being able to be there and support each other, I think just strengthened our bond.
Yeah, it really felt like we did a lot of things in reverse, where like a lot of couples would do a lot of the fun, flouncy dating, outgoing and doing things a lot more often.
Yeah.
And then they would start nesting as they get older. And then we kind of did all of the nesting and the trust building things at the top of our relationship.
True.
Because we were kind of forced to. And, there was a limited amount of people that even knew we were together. And we really had to create that bond and that strength and figure out, like, how are we going to navigate this as a couple? Like, I remember when my name changed from Gary to Garrett, like, having to, in my head, I had to encapsulate, like, if I can create a character out of this. And he's the one that helped me with it, being like, how do we protect my morality and who I am as a person? Because the sad reality of the industry at the time was, like, if I wanted opportunity and I wanted to be able to get into a position where I can talk about these things and be confident in an individual and a leader in that way. I had to go through those stages because there just wasn't opportunity for queer people. And if you were out publicly, there was just such a small limited pool of opportunity that there's no way you were able to do anything of note that was able to help you move forward in your career unless you were willing to be completely typecast into a very small category. So, you know, I realized like I have opportunity, but I have to accept the trials that come with it at the moment until I'm in a position where I can have enough of a resume, enough of, you know, strength as an individual, and am able to just come out and say like, I've done the work and I'm now at a point where I can just be completely authentic in who I am and talk about these things and talk about the issues of why, like, you should be able, it's called acting for a reason. So stop telling us we have to literally like be one thing so we can have all this other opportunity to show what we can do.
Yeah, exactly. So any advice for soon to be newlyweds?
I mean, it's like I said, our kind of journey as a couple's been much longer, I guess, than most people's in terms of the timeline for when to get married. But just, you know, have all those difficult conversations. People always ask us if we fight. And I think both of us always agree and say, no, we don't fight. We have arguments and conversations, you know? And I think that especially, you know, for queer couples in particular, there's a lot more to talk about at times, you know, whether or not each person's family is supportive, how they feel about the institution of marriage, how they feel about having a family, just like with any couple, you know, you want to have those hard conversations and make sure that all of your long-term goals align in some way and that you'll want to be there to support each other, you know?
For sure. Great.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot more difficult talks, I guess. Even though now they don't really come off as difficult because we're just used to it, you know, even if we know that there's a topic that might be a sensitive topic or something that is typically, you know, socially difficult to talk about, we're just very open with each other and the communication is very much key, I think.
Very nice. Great. Well, I'd like to move on and ask you some questions about A Game to Life, which is now a Spotify Greenroom live room. You originally started this as a YouTube channel. So what made you turn it into a podcast?
Well, so, you know, during the height of the pandemic, I think we both wanted to do something productive with our time that was within our talents as well. I'm very much kind of on the academic side of things where I get excited about data and research and I know that, you know, you can use data and research to push forward like positive social change. And I think on the flip side, you know, as an entertainer, and a storyteller, Garrett really knows how to reach out to an audience. And, you know, and I think both of us like to use storytelling as a means to promote social change. So, you know, we kind of talked about it for a few months and played with the idea of, you know, if we wanted to give back to the queer community in some way, we wanted to come up with an idea or something that would both entertain and educate people. So yeah, when A Game to Life started on YouTube, you know, the initial seed of the idea was that we would interview people from all over the world, queer people, about what it was like growing up queer in their communities, so that we could kind of shed light on the different barriers that they experienced in whatever country they lived in. And yeah, it ended up being a very great experience for us. We learned a lot. Hopefully people who watched the videos learned a lot as well. And then soon after, we ended up partnering with
Paradiso.
Yeah, Paradiso Media production company, who went out with us and pitched our show. And then we settled on working with Spotify. So now it's a weekly kind of live radio talk show, you could say, that right now is every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we interact with our audiences. We have some amazing guests come on, and the audience, you know, our listeners can interact with the guests and ask questions to them as well. And it's been a really positive experience all around.
And our goal is really to interview different queer people from all different walks of life. You know, the conceit of this really came out of us wanting to be more aware of people from different communities and different walks of life. And if you grew up in a different country or a different part of the world, what are the laws that either don't or do protect you? Are you able to have a family? Are you able to walk down the street safely? Have you, you know, like there's so many different things and so many different laws that affect us in different places and different parts of the world. And the only way we can move forward is by connecting those dots and understanding each other's paths better. So that way we can really help find the correct and most positive way to support and help people in our community. And we can't do that unless, like, you know, we always say, like, we're always going to ask the question. I might not always ask it the right way, but it's important that I ask it, because I can't properly support you unless I have that information. And and if I do ask it wrong, feel free to correct me. But I think the important part is the answer and knowing, like, how to properly support people in our community and give that love and show that support.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So do you have any plans to continue with the YouTube channel, or do you hope to just keep it as a podcast right now?
We actually, you know, we're going to be keeping it as a podcast. It's been working really well and in the live rooms, and then with Spotify transferring it into the podcast space. And we just got greenlit for a season 2. So we're going to be continuing through the rest of the year now. And it's been really cool. Like, you know, people from all these different countries, we've gotten to interview people from all these different types of careers, activists, entertainers, authors, illustrators, like people who are really just nurturing the queer space in so many different ways. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very nice. So ultimately, what do you hope listeners take away from it?
You know, I think really we just want to provide, since it is a live room, we do want to provide a platform that is a safe place for queer people to be able to come and kind of air their grievances and vent and communicate with one another, you know, and especially looking at what's going on in the world right now, you know, with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, for example, how Russia is now banning a lot of social media websites like Twitter and Instagram, and they're kind of silencing a lot of these voices. And then we even look to what was going on and what's been going on in Florida the last few weeks with the Don't Say Gay bill, you know, and when people aren't able to find their community and kind of find their tribe and express themselves and their true voices. There have been, you know, studies have shown that there are upticks in self-harm and suicide. So, you know, we just want to be a safe place and a platform where queer people of all ages, we have people, you know, that are teenagers going all the way up into, you know, their 70s and 80s listening to the podcast and chiming in sometimes. And we get messages from people saying, it's great to be able to have this place to come on and just have a conversation about what I'm feeling and who I am. Because, you know, for a lot of these listeners, from our experience so far anyway, you know, a lot of them are listening from small towns in middle America or small towns, you know, in rural England, for example, and they aren't able to express themselves and to talk with individuals that they can see themselves in some way in any other platform. So I think that is kind of what we're focusing on right now, being able to provide that safe platform for LGBTQ people to come together and to conversate and just to learn from one another.
Yeah. And, you know, it's really nice that we really try to engage with the chat and bring, you know, if people have questions, we ask to bring them up because we want them to know, like, we value their voice and their opinion, and we want to engage with everyone. And it's not just about us talking into a microphone alone for an hour. You know, we try and bring, you know, if somebody in the chat has a question, we're like, well, why don't you come up and ask it yourself? And we want to encourage people to feel like their voice is valid and their opinion matters. And it's important to really respect that. I think what we've, enough queer voices have been silenced. And so we're trying to give as much space as we can to other people.
Yeah.
Very great. You said new episodes are every Monday night?
Every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And past shows are also available to listen to on Spotify.
Okay, awesome. Well, Garrett, you are known worldwide for projects like Teen Beach Movies on Disney, Hairspray Live, and the feature film King Cobra. Can you talk more about the upcoming Paramount Plus series you filmed with Emily Hampshire?
I think those are two separate things.
Are they? Okay.
What is it?
The one with Emily, that's a movie called Mattachine Family, but the series is Fairly Odd Parents on Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I just got like, I was just told like it was one project.
No, it's okay. But they're great. You know, I've worked with the director, Andy, who shot Mattachine Family. I'm just, you know, I did like a cute cameo in one of the scenes as in a Halloween scene as Sexy Mario, but you know, it was really cool because Andy, the director, talked to me about, you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to give too much away about what my cameo in the movie, but it was a lot of his and his husband's experience and going through the process of having a child. And so I thought that was really interesting. And I also liked how honest it was because it was from his perspective on their experience. Mm-hmm. And so for getting to represent him in that way felt really special to me. And then the new Fairly Odd Parents on Paramount Plus is really exciting because I always watched the show as a kid and
love that show.
Right. And they did a really intense job of trying to make sure that they honored the original. Yeah. You know, they have like the original villain who voiced Crocker is also himself in real life. They tried to stay as close as they could to the original animation because it's very blended in the way of like almost like when you watch Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm. They tried to kind of keep that originality and what people loved about the cartoon. It's just the real world are real people and the fairy world is all cartoon. And the way that they blended it in to be, it really does to me feel like a Roger Rabbit kind of mix where it's really special that way. And I've always been a fan of that genre. So it's exciting for me to be a part of it. And I just like, it was a wonderful set, wonderful people, great cast, amazing production team. I feel really lucky to be a part of it.
Right. Can you say who you're playing in Fairly Odd Parents?
Yes, I'm playing. So originally his name was Chip Skylark, but in a bit of a moderning of the character, it's called Dustin Lumberlake.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Now, Blake, you're a screenwriter, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Do you have any upcoming or current projects going on that you would like to talk about?
I've been commissioned to work on a series that is kind of a young adult supernatural series. I'm working on that. I don't think I can say too much about it right now. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of what's in the works. And then just have a few things that I am always writing and always pitching. That's kind of the life of a screenwriter. So we'll see what happens in the coming year, but a few great projects in the pipeline, hopefully.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now, Garrett, when I interviewed you last year, you were promoting Pride House LA on TikTok. Are you still involved with the group?
No, unfortunately, I wasn't able to commit as much time as I wanted.
Okay.
As the house deserves anymore. And with everything going on, I thought it was best because I didn't want the house to suffer because I just wasn't going to be able to be around as much anymore. Mm-hmm. I travel 2 to 3 times a month for different jobs and I'm, working on these other things. And I didn't want them to suffer because I couldn't be around. So Gotcha. We thought it was best if we parted ways and it's very amicable. And I wish all the best. I love Pride House and I believe in the message. So
awesome. Good. Because I saw that Molly and Jekka and Kent were like posting videos and photos like, where's Garrett? What happened to him? So at least it was like no big falling out or anything.
I know we're great. Honestly, it's like I'm really happy for them and all the success that they're getting to continue with. And mm-hmm. I wish I could be a part of it more, but truly it's just like I am not going to be able to be around as much anymore.
You're there in spirit.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, how can one stay up to date with you both?
You can find everything out about me at Garrett Clayton 1 on all platforms.
Yeah. And I'm at HRH Blake Knight on Instagram. That's the one I mainly use anyway. Mm-hmm. And yeah, our Spotify Greenroom show, A Gay in the Life, again, every Monday night right now. We might change the date in the future, who knows? But right now it's live every Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can download the Spotify Greenroom app if you want to come in and chat with us and our guests. And then you can also just find back episodes of the show on Spotify.
Okay, fantastic. Well, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you would like to mention or plug at this time?
Nothing I'm legally allowed to talk about.
Lots of exciting things, but they'll come out over time.
Yeah. Just keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Blake, Garrett, again, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking with you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Denny.
you so much. It was so good to talk to you again.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.